Hey, what's going on, everybody? How y'all doing? This is me again. We're gonna do something a little bit different today. I am going to be working on my first arm tattoo. So this will be my first tattoo that's not on my leg. Obviously, if it's on my arm, it's not on my leg. Um, but I wanted to kind of focus on a couple of things. First, let me go ahead. Thing I say every time: not a professional tattoo artist. Um, Not necessarily looking to break into the industry. Zero idea. Not zero idea. I've learned a lot over the past 4 or 5 weeks. So pretty happy with progress. But sterilization is something that they take care of on a very professional level. And as much as I try to sterilize, I realize that I have animals running around. If there's animals running around the place that you go to get a tattoo, uh, don't get a tattoo there. I mean, unless it's like a I don't know, like a non-allergenic hairless stuffed cat or something. I don't know, something. Um, that doesn't pee or poop ever. So, that being said, yeah, so I'm going to be working on arm tattoo. Let me give you a little backstory here. You can go ahead and you can kind of see what it is that we're working on today with the 4464. So I'm going to stretch out, and I know it's an uncomfortable subject for a lot of people, including myself. The whole mental and behavioral health aspect. So, um, uh, I have been retired, medically retired from the military because of some behavioral and uh, emotional health issues. That being said, I did the right thing. I sought treatment. I went through all the rigmarole, the hoops, and cut through red tape and all that kind of stuff, and had a lot of support along the way. It doesn't hold the same stigma as it used to. All the things that you'll hear, from other people. Some people say that that's not true, but I had a very positive experience with leadership, my own personal leadership as well as those going up the chain to ensure that I got the help that I needed. Um, a lot of the things that they talk about whenever you're going through those kind of processes, if you haven't been through those kind of processes, if you need to go through those kind of processes, are coping mechanisms. Coping mechanisms is really, like it's a really big deal because once you realize like the state of mind that you're in, it's not like you'll ever necessarily be quote unquote normal. There is no definition psychologically of normal from what I can understand. So um, it's just in how people cope. And one of the ways that you can cope, of course, you can do it unhealthily. You can cope through alcohol, drugs, whatever addiction that you can possibly, fill in there. But there are healthy coping mechanisms, and a lot of those are rather time consuming, though. So what do you do whenever you're in the moment, right? Like that was always where, I would get the hiccup in my healing process, no matter where I was, whether I was inpatient, outpatient, whatever. Like, and even currently in therapy, like sometimes I forget that there are things that do work rapidly and work for me specifically. One of those things is actually a breathing technique, and for some. The breathing technique might be a little bit different than others, but this is the one that kind of got me. It was to breathe in really rapidly for 4 seconds, like fill your lungs as much as possible. And then I hold that for 4 seconds. Then I breathe out slowly but forcefully for 6 seconds. And then I hold the bottom of that 4 seconds and then I repeat. Now, the issue is that, you have PTSD or generalized anxiety or something along those lines. You know what? This is weird. I'm just going to point this out. I am straight in the camera, but the whole room is like crooked. It's like the house tilted. All right. That being said, anyway, go back to it. You kind of look kind of weird whenever you're in the middle of a restaurant having an anxiety attack and you just start heavy breathing, right? Like that's odd. So, but you can do these things like, especially that one, you can do like, you can do it on the down low. It's not really that hard to sneak in some breaths, right? Like it's not. But oftentimes, in the thick of things, I forget. Well, hell, I've got a way to permanently remember. So that's what we're going to be working on today is a permanent remembrance of my breathing technique. So I've got 4464. I've got it right there, like pretty close to my wrist. I don't know. Camera can probably pick up a couple of other scars that might be around that area as well, um, but nothing big, right? So um, I used the good paper, good transfer paper, so it didn't like smear out and turn crazy. Um, the thing that I'm worried the most about with this, honestly, is getting a good tight, you know, spread of the skin while I'm working on it. I just don't think that's going to be possible. I'm going to try, but that's not really that's not really my forte. One-handed skin stretching. I haven't practiced that a whole lot, so this will be pretty good practice, right? Okay. I'm going to be using one of these guys, which I swore to myself I wouldn't use again for a very long time because my expertise is just not that high. However, this is a very tiny tattoo. So this is, it's like, I think it's 2 inches wide. So it's not very big. I don't have like gigantor arms. It's very skinny. Used to be bigger, but all the muscle went down to my stomach area. So, what I'm going to be working with is that very teeny tiny, instead of a standard 12 size needle, it's an 8 size needle. Instead of what I commonly use as a 7 grouping, this is a 5 grouping. And so this is in a liner configuration. It is extremely small, very needly, if you will. I don't know if I can kind of show that or not. That is tiny. It's a very small needle. um, I will have to adjust and already know like this is not a configuration that you want. You don't want your needle poking out before you even get started. So I'm gonna attempt to hide that, push that back inside the cartridge because again, like I said, that's not something that you really want. Now, I would love to say, hey guys, this is gonna be another half an hour tattoo. I just I can't believe it. Like, I mean, it's to me that's a lucky one, right? Hey, what's going on, Turkey Noodle? How you doing, man? Sorry, I didn't see it first. Oh no, that's too far. So I like these to be sticking out farther, about I don't know, maybe about that far, a bit farther. Yeah, that's good. Living the dream. Oh no, what happened, brother? I know it's not your dream. It's somebody else's. Uh, voices. I know it. I know it. I had my first day of school today. Yeah, that was definitely a nightmare. They do some mean stuff in college. At least I think it's mean. Why would you say? Why would yeah? Back to school. I know. Why would you say? All right, in the military, there is not a single test that's meant to fail you. No, no, and this is all online, no swirly, right? But I felt like I got a swirly because in the military, there's no test that's meant to fail you. It's always meant to test what it is that you know. That being said, every time that you take any kind of exam or quiz or something online, it's like they tell you how many chances you get to pass. And they tell you, most of the time it's like, this is attempt one out of unlimited, right? So that's what I ran into. I ran into an attempt of X out, out of unlimited. And so I took the test. I didn't even read that. I didn't read anything. I didn't watch the video. I just I put it on and then I put on closed captioning, but then I sped it up to 2.5 times the speed. So it was going too fast for me to even read it. And I was like, well, this would be a good, I have unlimited chances, right? So I might as well, give it a try, right? Like, I'll just give it a try. Well, these bozos went ahead and just like whatever grading company it is was like was like yeah, it's graded. And I'm like, I failed it, man. Well, I didn't fail it. Yeah, I did. I failed it. I failed it. I failed it, and then it wouldn't let me have any more of my quote unquote unlimited chances. I went back. Eventually, they did open it back up. I was like, yeah, I was scared to death, man. I'm like, look, you have to have like a B average to keep your whatever scholarship or what, I don't know, whatever it is. And I'm like, I was sitting there, I was dying, man. I have a feeling I'm going to blow this out because I can't, I haven't worked on arm skin. So, I mean, I hope I don't, but I also want it deep enough it's not going to fall out. But yeah, I was pissed. Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of a negative experience, but I said, I mean, eventually they open it back up. So, but this, this is my first time being like in in the academic world for outside of the military. Like it's been close to 20 years, man. Like I don't know what's changed. It doesn't seem like a whole lot's changed, but who knows? Who knows? Just gonna give that a little pat down. This is weird. Like tattooing on my arm like it's nothing. Think about that. Think about. I've been thinking about like what tattoo would I get? Like I was gonna put this a little bit lower, and then I was like, are numbers a career ender? You know, I wish that I had actually seen Shawshank. I know that's wrong. That's like I think that's a sin that I haven't seen it, but that's not going to translate well. I should have done that on the inside or the outside. So the line, the little triangle part inside the four, just so you guys tracking what it is I'm talking about, is a little too tight. I mean, I'll know it's a four, but over time, that area is going to fill in wonky. I mean, the cool thing is I can just touch it up, but it's still not optimal. So I am going to be filling this in as well. And for that, I might be using, get it for? I might be using a 7, oh crap. Tell you what, this is different. It's a different angle, I feel better about not having the camera on my crotch, but at the same time, like, I can really get close to it where I don't feel like I can get, like, I should be able to get a lot closer, but there's no point since I don't have the stabilization of another hand. I don't know if that makes any sense. I know. I really should watch it, but This is rad. This is like my favorite part of the day. Smooth it out. Gotta smooth it out. It's so weird not having the other hand. I mean, I do, but I'm like, it's in use right now. You know what I mean? This might be like a 15-minute tattoo. Who would have thought? I say that, and then I'll end up like washing it, and then all the ink will just pour out of it, and I'll be like, no, just like always, just like every single time. And not, I mean, I might end up using the same needle to fill this in if using the 7 doesn't work out right, but hopefully the 7 works out right. Then I'll be like, what else can I tattoo? One of these days I'm going to freehand something. I really am. Not like freehand, like straight to tattoo, but like take like some markers or something and just like draw something crazy and then just do it, you know? Okay, so the other needle is a different company. Remember, I don't know if you saw me poke it, like, showing how far it was sticking out. This one, like, I just put it in. My machine does not like these needles. Look, like that's barely poking out at all. You see that? Look at that. It's crazy. So I have to tighten this one back down. Not tighten, but it's like adjusting it to be more full, I guess. All right. So that's it, like fully adjusted. Like that is not my optimal length, but whatever. You do what you do. All right. So I'm trying to do this right this time. And like I haven't been doing it right the rest of the time, but I really want to ensure. Maybe it's just these cartridges. These things are just terrible. All right. So I really want to ensure that I get this in there proper like. The ink has actually got to come out though. I'm going to have to not do this the proper way. Do this the old fashioned way. The old fashioned, not cool way. All right. See if we can get some ink out of it this time. Yeah, there we go. See the spatter I get? That's from dipping the needle or the cartridge into the ink while it's running. I found this out. I did a lot of research trying to figure out like why my crap was not working out right. Why am I getting all this spray everywhere? And the spray, especially on these smaller tattoos, makes it a lot more difficult to see. Oh yeah, this is going to take some technique. I'll show you what I mean. So that is not a deep dark black, right? That's not even close. So, so I got to stay within the lines that I drew. You see how the skin's like vibrating? That's a lot of trauma to the skin. I'm pointing all this stuff out because if you guys decide to get a tattoo and you go somewhere and you can look down and see your skin doing that, you might want to find a different artist. I'm not bad mouthing myself, right? I'm just saying, yeah, I'm gonna have to go in with the. Might be able to get these parts. Yeah, I'm not trying to badmouth myself. I'm just not like you can see me trying to pull. Like I've got my wrist flexed, my wrist flexed, and I'm trying to pull the skin tight. But you lose a lot of stability whenever you're just using your fingers on this. I really don't want to do this, but I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to use that little tiny needle. The reason I don't want to do that, one, now I have to readjust the machine again for the proper needle. But the other part is it's a tiny needle. Like I have to stab myself a bajillion times. So let's see where I'm at here. Yeah, all right. Look, just a teeny tiny, like this much of the crazy butter on there, and that's gonna allow me to have a little bit easier to clean up whenever it does spatter. Because guess what? We're dipping that cartridge in. So chances are, this also gives me just a little bit. This is gonna suck. What I want is I want a really good full. I want it to be like really full black. You know, like I'm trying to fill that space up. There's a lot of tattoo artists will they'll use like this similar technique to bold their lines. So they actually will draw if it's meant to be a bold line, they'll draw two smaller lines side by side and then go in and fill it in. Just little, just a little tidbit there for you guys. What I'm doing whenever I take my hand away is I'm actually taking a paper towel. Uh, yeah, yes, it will. It most definitely will. Until I can figure out like maybe if I put a piece of tape on either side of it to pull it tight. I don't know, something along those lines. I just have to be inventive about it. I really wanted this one to be pretty simple though, because like I said, I mean the whole idea is that in the heat of the moment whenever it comes to having like any kind of PTSD or anxiety attack or anything like that, like, or even just being stressed out. Like, I have I normally forget that I have an option, I have an alternative to just sucking it up. So this is, I don't know if you caught that or not. This is like the my breathing technique. Yeah. Yep. I wanted to do something besides just put numbers there, like just something, right? Like it didn't have to be anything super fancy, but I think that this is, for me, it's nicer to look at than just some numbers. Like, I don't want to make light of people that have pride in their area codes, or people that have tattoos for other reasons. Like uh, I kind of wanted it to stand out from that kind of thing. I mean, I'll admit, like, it is kind of embarrassing, I guess. Like, not like embarrassing. It's just, like, there's a certain pride to being able to control yourself, right? And whenever you find yourself in an environment where you lose that control, like, that sucks. So this is kind of a way of maybe not gaining that control back, but coming to terms with the environment and understanding, not in any danger, nothing life threatening, blah, blah, blah. I say blah, blah, blah like it's nothing, but dude, let me tell you, sometimes reality is not at all involved in what you get hit with. It hits hard. So it's good to just have something simple and something to be proud of. Right? I know, man. That's why I can't do that work anymore, because it is like that every day at work. All right, let's see. I still see some spots that definitely need a little bit of help, but overall, man, like I kind of like this. This isn't too bad. One thing that I haven't been able to really get down just yet is understanding, like, you can see, like, especially around this area. Well, if you look at right where the needle's going, um, it's a lot more difficult to shade or to fill, and I'm going to tell you why. Because the skin welts up right where you put your outline. Well, hey, where'd you guys go? Are y'all drunk? Y'all need to stop drinking. um now you can see even better. Happy accident. Boom. Thanks, man. But getting in here is like such a pain. Yes. I will say that after a little while, though, like the area that you're going over again and again, um, kind of goes numb. And I think this is one of those. It's like small enough, like it's not gonna like get a ton of attention. I mean, this is definitely something a mom would notice. Like, oh, hey, honey, how you doing? It's been a long time since we've talked. What the hell is that? But like, not that bad. I gotta make more complicated designs. Like seriously, like what is this? Look at that. My cat. My cat decided to join in. What are you doing? Let's try to eat the microphone. Can you there you go. Something else got her attention somewhere else. There she goes. She's gone now. That was Marmalade because she's the color of marmalade and she's a lady. She is she is a lady. Yeah, good old marmals. The other thing is she actually makes that noise. Ooh, you guys almost fell down again. I swear, man. Y'all have to. I'm really gonna have to like. I might have to have an intervention for you guys or something. Such a tiny, itty bitty little needle to be doing this with. I might spice this one up at some point in time too. Maybe add some highlights or something. I thought about doing it in some kind of color, but I couldn't figure out anything that made any sense to me. I'm sure like I could have done like a blue for breathing in, like a green for holding it or something. I don't know. And just oh, you just maybe tattoo myself in a weird spot. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I have to admit, like I'm a little gun shy about like turning the machine onto somebody else. I mean, I think I can do it. Don't get me wrong. I just feel like you know. Okay, so I think that's about it. That's it. I think we're good. But I just feel like if I mess up, like I'm trying to experiment and do all the things on myself, right? Like color fill. I want to play with gradient. I want to play with blend, shade, shadow. Highlights, clean lines, thick lines, thin lines, like all that kind of stuff. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Really do. I really appreciate it. Um, but if I don't do that on real skin, like I can do it like on a fake skin, but if I don't do it on real skin, I'm not really going to know what's going on with it. Oh, I definitely don't want to be like, okay, first tattoo on somebody else. I wonder what that's going to be like. I want to know exactly. But I do still have a picture of your bean frog in my photo album, so on my phone. So it's a simple design. Don't get me wrong. Like I understand, I get it, but like I don't want to like tear up your skin doing it, filling it in with color, and I don't want to mix the wrong color. So I'll just keep making a couple. Here, I went ahead and put some of the butter on there, so it's a little bit cleaner there. I have a feeling that I could have rounded out that one top four just a little bit more. We'll work on that another time. We'll see how much of this sticks over the next 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, I'll come back. I'll touch it up. But yeah, one handed, no anchor tattoo. Do not suggest, not at all. If you go to a one handed tattooist, make sure that that one handed tattooist has been doing it for years with one hand because that's that's different. That's a lot different than what I'm used to on my legs. I'm going to assume that you mean that you shouldn't drink caffeine before a tattoo. um, yeah, I haven't really heard that. I think that it probably, I can imagine that, you're putting your body under a lot of stress. So maybe that's the aspect of it. Um, I don't know. I think also caffeine is has been known to accentuate pain, like to bring out more. If you're in pain, it livens the nerves. So that might be the other aspect of it. I'm not sure. Um, that's probably more like it though. Like people want to minimize their discomfort as much as possible, and that's understandable, especially if you're getting something big, intricate, in a sensitive spot, something like that. So, um, yeah, that's probably it. I'd imagine. Um, they do make, I don't mean to make that face whenever I say it, but they do make like a topical, rub that you can put on that will help numb the skin. From what I understand, from what I've heard, it works really well. And there should be there should be a normalization of comfort, honestly, whenever you're getting stuff like this done. So, I mean, I kind of feel the same way, but maybe that's because the reason that I'm doing this, um, like I want to be connected as much as possible to the process. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true. That's true. Um, Speaking of staying still, I've heard of people who can actually fall asleep during tattoos. That's pretty amazing. I mean, I imagine it's probably not that difficult. It's like acupuncture except on speed, And I've fallen asleep during acupuncture, so I mean, I might be able to fall asleep during a large tattoo, especially like whenever I was, going over uh, some of these spots over and over again. And I was saying that like the more you go over it, it's like the more numb it becomes anyway. Until you start doing weird things like pushing in to add highlights and stuff like that. Um, or trying to blend color over something that you've gone over 1,000 times with like a lighter wash or something, and then you're trying to blend something else in there. Yeah, that grates. That hurts pretty bad. I probably wouldn't be able to sleep through that. But hey, look, my cat again. There she is, licking herself, cleaning herself. At least she's hygienic, right? She's sterile. Sterile. She's been spayed. Does that make her sterile? Anyway, I don't know. But yeah, um, yeah. Uh, Drunken Botany. If you could ask if you could ask her if that's what she's heard as far as like the pain and caffeine, because that's probably scientifically like that's probably more along the lines of the truth rather than it being a shock to the system. But yeah, shading sucks. I've done like some very minor shading on myself, and I'm like, oh, you know, that that blended pretty well. You know, it was very light, no problem. And then like 3 days later, the like this area, like this whole quarter-inch area around whatever it is that I was shading is just like peeling. Like I'm like, what the hell? Like it's all raised up and everything while I'm working on it. And I'm like, this feels like sandpaper on the skin. And then like, I look at it and I'm like, all of that for such a, you know, such a minor little nuanced thing. And, I've got a lot of body hair. Like whenever this stuff grows back, all these little tiny like nuanced like details that I put in, they're gone. They're like it's gonna be like like trying to trying to paint a symbol on the ground in the middle of a forest and expecting somebody from a helicopter to see it. Like it is just not it's not showing up. Um, that's just the truth. So, um, but yeah, really, I don't. I mean, yeah, I don't think so. I think alcohol will make you bleed more. Definitely, definitely. I mean, everyone says, "Oh, don't go to your, try to get a tattoo while you're drunk." Um, don't. One, you'll make a bad decision. You might see somebody's stick figures on a pad of paper and be like, "Yeah, man, that's cool. Put it on me," But also, like, you will bleed profusely. Um, yeah, yeah. Caffeine, if anything, uh, blood vessel constriction, especially at the capillary size. Like it pulls the blood away from the skin more than anything, I would imagine. And the only reason I say that, is from like first responders. She should know medically more about that than what I would, but I believe that that constriction would probably pull the blood further back rather than pushing it toward the surface. Um, I would say, if anything, it's probably because it's a stimulant and it, stimulates. So the nerves will be more stimulated. Um, but other than that, like, I mean, but I drink like all kinds of stuff whenever I'm tattooing myself. I mean, I'm never wasted. Like, I don't come on here like, even slightly buzzed and be like, oh, here we go. Bunch of needles in my skin. That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I could see the tremors too. So again, another little tiny uncomfortable, uh, little tidbit. A lot of the medications that I'm on, um, well, not a lot. Some of the medications that I'm on actually cause uh, like jerking, like just unwanted like muscle spasms. So like, I'm trying to get all those like little tiny details in, and then all of a sudden you'll see me like whoop, and I'm like, oh, ooh, and then I check, and I have yet to make an accidental mark, so there is that. Well, that's not true. So I do have a spot on my wrist. It must have been from like 3 weeks ago, but like I must have just like barely just like went right outside of my glove or something, and I've got like a little green line. I'm pretty sure it had to be an accidental tattoo. So I can mark that on my tally for a tattoo, I suppose. That's number, you know, 29 or whatever. I don't know. So, yeah. Um, but yeah, I mean, if you guys have any other questions, feel free to ask. I'm not really, I don't really have a, I mean, tomorrow's will be more complicated, I guess. I don't, I don't know. I feel bad. My last two were just like uber quick, half an hour on one, like pretty much half an hour on the other. Like it could have been done quicker, but I didn't have it. Like I didn't have an anchor, so my hands just kind of like floating on buzzing skin. I mean, I really honestly like the best way to put it is like whenever the skin is bouncing like that. So it's bouncing, and some of the needles are going in, and some of them aren't, and then the skin's like slapping up against the needles, and maybe it's going in then or whatever. Yeah, some of my others are long. And some of them are long for no reason. Like honestly, like some of the, I mean, well, I shouldn't say no reason. Like they're long because I didn't know what I was doing. So I've overworked. I haven't fully blown anything out. Possibly, maybe the flower on the boxer. I'm very upset about that one. But like I've overworked some stuff, and like it shows. Like in the healing process, it shows. So it's a lot of, well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and instead of layering some things, you really should just block out like you know some things. Like if you know you're going to be using a dark blue here and a light blue there, then don't do light blue and then do dark blue over the top of it like you would with like you can do that with like colored pencils or paint or something like that. I don't suggest doing it on the skin. So, you know, there you go. There you go, Joy. Like, that's a big one right there. If I would have tried like any kind of overlay or shading on you before I did it on me, you'd be hating me because you just have a big giant like colorful scab and a lot of choice words to share with me. So that's a lesson that I've learned on me on my inner thigh twice now. So at least I didn't learn it on somebody else in you know another weird spot. So all right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. 45 minutes down, and I feel like a fairly successful, small, tiny tattoo with a lot of meaning behind it, a lot of good conversation, friends. And I appreciate you guys showing up and showing your support. Um, Yeah, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. As always, they do look better in real life. So hopefully, one of these days, here I'll just go ahead and lay that in there. One of these days, I'll actually be able to see you guys in real life again. Thank you again. I appreciate it. Thank you for the good job. It means a lot. It really does. It really does. So, well, I'll see you guys hopefully tomorrow around the same time. And like I said, I'll try to find something a little bit more complicated. All right. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for the love, man. Good night, and I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow. Bye.